It's our First NBC Weekend Review brought to you by First NBC Bank, 30-plus locations in Southeast Louisiana. Lenny Vangilder in the driver's seat today with Ken Trahan out till later on this week, joined by SportsNola.com's Rene Nadeau. Rene, thanks for being with us. It's a busy time for sports in New Orleans, even though there's not necessarily a lot of games to go see per se, with the Pelicans season ending, the NFL draft this week, the Zurich Classic starting on Thursday. An awful lot going on. Maybe not football or basketball games to go sit in the seats to attend, but still a busy time.
You know, it's interesting, Lenny. This time of year, all the seasons kind of touch, the tips. You got the NFL draft coming up. You do have arena football. You got Major League Baseball, college baseball, NBA playoffs, going on right now. So a lot is going on. And this time of year, all the seasons kind of touch, and they intertwine a little bit.
We're sitting here in the New Orleans arena right now where the Pelicans just wrapped up their end-of-season press conference, and the Pelicans now no longer the Hornets. But what's interesting is this is probably the last time we're in this building for a few months because it's going to undergo renovations. You mentioned arena football, the Voodoo moving across the street. They're coming off a loss to Jordan Jefferson and the Pittsburgh Power on Friday night. The rest of their home schedule will be played right across the street in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, a throwback to the days of the early 90s when the New Orleans Knight, with our friend the late Vince Gibson, was the coach for a year there, along with Eddie Kayat for a year. It's going to be old times across the street.
Bring back great memories, and you remember, as I do, those days with the New Orleans Knight with Vince Gibson and Coach Kayat. A nice press conference today with Dell Demps and Monty Williams. Touched on a few things, kind of a view of the future, what they plan on doing, some things they're going to tweak a little bit, things that hadn't been done here before. And I think they realize that there's an opportunity to build something really, really special here. It's going to take some time and patience, but the Hornets are going to follow the game plan they originated and improve in some areas and do some things in the offseason, Lenny, that I think may really make a vast difference.
Let's get back to the field for a second here. LSU spring game this past Saturday. A lot anticipated about really the public's first look at what Cam Cameron's offense was like. I don't think we necessarily saw the Tigers tipping their hand as to what we may see come the fall, but your impressions on LSU with spring practice now being over?
I'm in a minority, but I really like spring games, spring practices. I really do. I watch individuals. I watch how they react. I watch receivers when I know they're not going to get the ball and things like that. I didn't see anything from the quarterbacks that was extraordinary. A couple of things I want to talk about, and I wrote this in my blog, that Mettenberger, the thing is, he's a lot more confident, Lenny, and he's making attempts he never would have made before. It's not about the throw. It's the timing and the placement of the throw that Mettenberger has improved on, and that's going to be a big, big difference. Cam Cameron's offense aside, Mettenberger has made some personal changes that I think is going to change his game. Very impressed with Anthony Jennings, the true freshman who stepped on the field for the first time, handled himself very well, getting in and out of the huddle. That was a major thing. The technical things that he did, I think I was very impressed with Anthony Jennings, and had a lot of young players that really, really helped themselves in the spring.
On the subject of college football, a lot of players that we saw on the field last fall will get their names called later this week in the NFL draft. Of course, the thing everyone wants to know about, where do you see the Saints going at 15?
It has to be defense, without question, and it's going to have to be a playmaker. It may be a position of obvious need, inside or outside linebacker, but it has to be a guy that is going to be a guy that the defense rallies around, that makes a big play, that picks up the crowd, picks up the defense. It has to be that type of player. They didn't get it in free agency, and I think they need a player like that, be it a guy that they may have, if you want to call it a strength on defense, which the worst case defense in the league last year, but a position that they already have some veteran players. They do have to bring in a playmaker.
College baseball this weekend. LSU wins 2 out of 3 at Alabama. Unbelievable game on Saturday night, as I wrote about on Sunday morning at SportsNola.com. 16 innings, didn't end till a minute after midnight. Just a game with lots of ebbs and flows. It was a very entertaining game to watch. LSU ends up winning 2 out of 3 in the series there. And congrats to Joe Sherman and Delgado Community College sweeping a 3-game series up in Baton Rouge this weekend to move into the driver's seat in their conference. Meridian at home this weekend. By the way, we'll have all 3 games of the Meridian series right here on sportsnola.com with live video and audio for you to check that out. And one other thing we want to promo coming up Tuesday, 4 o'clock. It's the showdown in St. Charles Parish. Destrehan and Hahnville, 2 of the best baseball teams in the area. They will meet. We'll have it live here on sportsnola.com as part of the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase. You can see it Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on WHNO Channel 20. Rene, just so much going on right now. Have a great week and enjoy taking it all in.
You will. You as well, Lenny. Thank you.
That's our First NBC Weekend Review brought to you by First NBC Bank. Stay with us here at sportsnola.com all week for a busy week of sports in our area.